Hello Penguinauts, I'm the Beardy Penguin and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Endurance. Today we're going to take things slow a little bit and launch some planes to explore our new home planet of Solitude, because we haven't actually made that many planes or explored Solitude a great deal, and that's a shame because it's a pretty awesome looking planet and it's ripe for exploring. Plenty of science, plenty of beautiful sights to be seen that possibly no one has seen before. I know that the popularity of After Kerbal has greatly increased since I started making a series on it. I'm not just saying that to inflate my own ego. I mean, I can see in the Discord lots of people have been putting up their screenshots of their career mode series in After Kerbal. Most of them are much more successful than mine. Moving swiftly on, as you can see we have a couple of contracts to study the biomes. I mean, the first one is a temperature study, and these ones are actually quite high altitude. So you see we're engaging the afterburners on our engines, and there we go. What we do is we just power up to about Mach 3 where we're in the lower atmosphere, then we cruise on up to the higher altitude where our engines are, well, far less powerful, and then we drift back down after we've got our data. So here we go, just climbing up to the second point. As you see, we have a very, very high inclination, and boom! Ooh, I shouldn't really say inclination, I should really say pitch, shouldn't I? But yeah, I didn't spend long on this aircraft. It's called the Starling 1. It's just designed to get the job done. It's using B9 Mark II parts, if you were wondering, which are just a little bit chunkier, a little bit more useful, I think, than the stock Mark II parts. And they were made first, actually. So I don't know if the stock ones just copied the B9 ones, or whether or not they were just developed completely independently. It is possible. Maybe it's like the jet engine in reality. It was developed completely independently in Germany and Britain. We us Brits got the patent, so we built it, really. Okay, moving swiftly on. So, as you can see, we have one more report to take. This is our second contract, which requires us to do some atmospheric scans, and we've run out of fuel. So what we're going to do is just glide on gently down towards the ground and go in for a landing on this mountainside, because, to be honest, these contracts didn't pay very well anyway. I'm not going to launch another mission just to get that final report. We've already got quite a bit of money just from the other reports, so we land gently-ish. We don't break the plane, for sure. And there we go. We grab ourselves some science, we get out. Our ladder is on the wrong side. Whoopsie daisy. Oh well, get ourselves a bit of science, and there we go. We didn't really see many sights on that mission, considering we were entirely in the dark side of Solitude. Oh, Beardy, why didn't you just wait for Solitude to rotate? Solitude's tightly locked to the sun, so if something's in the dark, it's gonna stay in the dark. So yeah, that first mission, I don't know, it was just to stretch our legs, just to test the, I don't know if I mentioned it's called the Starling 1, this plane. It's called the Starling 1. This is the Starling 2, just a few slight little improvements, shifting the position of the wings and putting the ladder on the other side, although I did make the mistake of putting the ladder on upside down this time, so hey, you know, you live and learn. But here we go. This time we get to see some slightly more beautiful sights because, of course, we're actually doing something in the daytime. We have a contract to take a scientist from the Kerbal Space Center all the way over to pretty much the other side of the planet, past a lot of very beautiful Solitude highlands. Really is a gorgeous planet, isn't it? Look at that. Beautiful red highlands, because, of course, a lot of Solitude is still quite inhospitable to even plant life, especially on the daytime side where it gets very, very hot along the equator, and the nighttime side where it gets extremely cold. I've had a few comments like, oh, well, if Solitude's tidally locked, Beardy, shouldn't the side that's facing the sun be like a molten hellhole and the side that's facing away be frozen? Yeah. Are you seeing this video? This is the equator along the daytime side. It's very, very hot and very, very arid. There's very little in the way of life here. And if you could see the surface on the nighttime side, you might have caught a few glimpses of it. It's frozen over. There is a bit of green here and there, but it's bloody cold on the other side. But sure enough, we come in for a slightly harder landing than last time and get ourselves some more science. Right! We landed in mostly one piece. Well, one piece, just one slightly damaged piece. Right, let's grab ourselves some science. Did we actually go anywhere? This looks awfully familiar. Temperature scan. Temperature readings are quite literally nominal. Mystery goo observation. All of these things are, just so you know, in this cargo container here. The goo hides in a corner of its container. And materials study. Let's have a look. The materials show little signs of change, though one of the samples appears to be judging you silently. Right, we'll extend the ladder. There we go. Wunderbar, wunderbar. Oh, great. So the first time we put the ladder on the wrong side, and this time we made it upside down. As you do. I guess we'll just have to lower the landing gear. That's fine. We are sliding down the hill a little bit when we do that. Maybe we should keep the landing gear extended. Like so. Okay. Sure, whatever. Max skull, out you get. EVA report. Finally, time to stretch your legs. Surface sample. You try to taste the ground, but realize that would be silly. You kiss it instead. Happy to be here alive for once. Do we put a flag out? I don't think we put a flag out. Nah, it's not really something to commemorate. We're just doing a little biome study of this area. So, right, have we done everything we need to do? Help scientists perform experiments at Solitude Heights. We just have to recover Max Skull. Perfect. Well, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The lovely red mountains of Solitude. They really are gorgeous, aren't they? Look at that. Just stretch on and on. The majority of the planet's still pretty inhospitable. Let's have a look at the temperature. Thermometer. I was going to look at the temperature scanner. And let's actually have a look. How hot is it at this point? Toggle display. Oh, it was already on. No, it wasn't. Toggle display. You going to work, thermometer? Nope, thermometer's broken. Alright, what's the atmospheric pressure? Well, I have no idea. Well, I guess we're not going to find out. Let's recover this and head back to the Space Center. Well, just from the bits and bobs of science that we managed to accumulate over those 2 flights, we've actually got enough to finish this tier. So we're going to grab ourselves heat management systems, and there we go. We have finished the 6th tier of technology, and now we can move onwards and upwards. I think my next aim is going to definitely be to grab a high altitude flight, which then means we can start building space shuttles. And you might be thinking, but Beardy, you don't have very heavy rocketry yet. You don't have the vector engine. Well, it turns out I managed to grab myself a contract which gives us that part. It's a test part contract, and it gives us the vector engine. So all we're going to do is just not test the engine where they want us to, and we get to use the part really early. So there you go, that's why it's highlighted in blue there. So all we have to do is get 300 science, and then bam, we can start building space stations and all sorts with a space shuttle. I think I'm going to start with a small B9 space shuttle, and then we will step it up to a larger one, a big Mark III one at a later point. I want to start with a small one, smaller, easier one, and then we'll gradually increase it in size and increase its payload to orbit. We also definitely want to be grabbing ourselves scanning tech and such, but yeah, I think definitely high altitude flight first, build some space stations, do some cool stuff, use a shuttle a bit, because I haven't really used a shuttle in a career mode before, and yeah, get some funky mission profiles going. But before we can launch any funky rockets, we have to do a slightly more routine launch, using yet again the Griffin launch system. It's reliable, it's powerful. Why not use it again? Because we are, of course, launching a module to the Talos 1 space station. It's a pretty damn fine space station, if I say so myself, but although it's got enough life support to support our Kerbals for about 250 days, it does not have enough room for them to stretch their legs. USI colonization includes a mechanic in which your Kerbals will go stir crazy if you leave them in space in tiny cabins for too long. So much like what happened on Skylab when the astronauts had a little bit of a mutiny because they were being worked too hard and they didn't have enough space and all that good stuff. Although some of you guys have mentioned to me that actually they didn't have a mutiny. Apparently it's just sort of overblown by the... I don't know. But anyway, we want to avoid that happening. So we're sending a lot more living space up to Talos 1. We're also sending a few life support recyclers and all sorts really, because this launch vehicle can send 30 tons to Guardian orbit. If you're, well, if you're a bit more efficient with it than I'm certainly being with this launch profile here. And so we had a bit of extra weight that we could strap on. So I thought, okay, just strap on some life support recycling units, meaning we can leave them up for even longer. So here we go. We have our Talos 1 habitation module, and we just get it into orbit. And of course, we reuse our 2 side boosters. There they are, just activating the parachutes, drifting gently towards the surface, and just the same, we reuse our main booster. And so back up into orbit. Now this thing hasn't actually got any Kerbals on it, so we overshoot our maneuver node because we don't actually have any communication with the ground because our relay network is just horrendous. We really should get on replacing that, but I think I'm going to replace it with my space shuttle when I build it. A lot of you probably wondering why I waited so long to launch a space telescope. It's just because I wanted to do it authentically. I wanted to launch it like the Hubble and get it up there in a space shuttle. Just for coolness sake, really. It's probably a lot more cost effective to launch it with a good old expendable rocket. But hey, you know, you've got to have a bit of fun with these series. Got to keep things interesting. So yeah, space shuttle for the win. Same with the satellites. I think we're going to do a lot of sort of low Solitude orbit stuff with our space shuttle once we get it designed, and in the meantime we'll of course be sending probes and such to the distant planets, and then obviously we'll build a lot of infrastructure in and around Solitude in the meantime, much like what we've done since the Apollo missions, although we do still need to launch one more mission to Guardian, especially with a rover. We need to send a rover to Guardian. It's just demanded by the law of having a space program. You have to send a rover to the moon of your home body. But anyway, here we are. We're just doing our injection burn. Wait, this is not injection burn. This is us. Is it the injection? No, the injection burn is getting out there. This is our capture burn. There you go. Now we get ourselves into a nice polar orbit. We do, however, need to change our inclination slightly so that we are in line with Talos 1. So what we do is we leave our apoapsis very high, because the higher up you are in your orbit, the less costly it is for you to make inclination changes and expensive maneuvers like we are currently doing. So we just keep a close eye on the descending node, and then we have to warp along our orbit a little bit, just adjusting it very, very finely, a little bit of fine tuning, and there we are. We are in the same inclination. I can't speak. I'm actually really quite ill. Combination of exam stress and being ill, and yeah, the show must go on. Okay, I really enjoy making Endurance though, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm punishing myself, forcing myself to get videos out. This is my rest and relaxation, so I honestly don't mind, but maybe the video quality suffers slightly for it. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. I need a drink, my throat is so dry. Right, there we go. So we get ourselves our encounter with Talos 1, and then we orbit around, and here we are heading towards the rather gorgeous looking station. So yeah, as I said, so this module, a bunch of recycling units, a lot more liquid fuel as well. We do actually have a contract, technically, to build a new space station around Guardian, but since this module is new, once we attach it to the old space station, it'll count as a new space station, essentially. The requirements were 4,000 units of liquid fuel, and Talos 1's already got 2,000 in it, so this one's got 2,000 as well, plus all the life support stuff and the habitation units. That means that our Kerbals can stay up here almost indefinitely, what with recycling all their life support and giving them a decent amount of living space. Although as soon as we get another scientist on board, we need to send them to Talos 1, because we've just got Peter Kerman working alone in the science lab, which is producing a decent amount of science, but not as much as we would like. We do almost try to dock the small docking port with the large docking port there, but I quickly turn the space station around at the last minute, docking with the correct end of the space station, and I think it actually looks alright. We should probably get some other modules to stick out the side perhaps, but we get rid of our booster, and look at that! Pretty gorgeous. And there we go, we've maintained stability for 10 seconds, and the contract is complete. Look at all that money. Oh, wonderful. And not only has it given us a huge amount of money, it's also actually made Talos 1 a pretty competitive space station, because now what we can do is go along and activate all of our habitats. There we go, start habitat, start habitat. This uses electric charge, of course, but well, we've got no shortage of it. This I was going to say this close to the sun, but with the sun that bright and with this many solar panels, I think we should be all right. Yeah, we're fine. So we've started those habitats. Has this got a habitat? No, I think this has got a life support thing on it. Yes, it has. Start the life support on that, and we'll start this massive recycling module. Start life support. And look, we're still fine for electric charge, and I believe that is all the stuff we needed to activate. So now we just need to have a look at this, and there we go. So we have enough electric charge for, yeah, loads of time. We now have enough supplies for 2 years, and we have enough habitation for Ted Kerman, indefinite. He can stay up here forever. Peter Kerman, he's slightly less well trained, so for him it's 1 year and 113 days. So this module has extended the mission lifespan from 12 days to well over a year. So that's pretty damn awesome. It would be nice if we had another scientist up here, but we have to make do with Peter. He's doing his best though. We're getting a good amount of science, which is 2.5 per day. That's going to add up. I haven't got a huge amount of data. We'll probably have to, when we do our last landing mission on Guardian, we'll bring the data up here and process it through the lab, so we get all the data we're ever really going to need in this lab. Because you have to keep getting, science reports and stuff to give it data to research. But sure enough, I think we can leave these guys in space to do their thing for a bit. So what we can do now, we've got quite a bit of dough lying about, is upgrade our observatory. Beardy, what does the observatory actually do? Well, this is part of the Research Bodies mod, and our observatory is currently doing a survey of the skies, and that's going to give us some actual planets to explore, some bodies outside of the little Solitude system. So once we finish this contract, which now we can actually just fast forward straight to the end of it because our space station has got more than enough life support to last to the end of it. We're going to get science from the space station while it's in orbit, and then when we finish it we'll have some more planets to research, and then hopefully we might have enough science from our space station to then research the space shuttle node and then launch a space telescope to research the planets further. We just need to time warp to the end of the contract though, so I'll see you guys in a second. So our observatory has almost finished its survey of the sky, and Talos 1 has sent us over 500 units of science. It was certainly worth building. It's already paid for itself just in the amount of science it sent us, saved us sending more missions to Guardian in order to unlock that all-important space shuttle tech node. Sorry, I've got a very dry throat and very ill at the moment. I'm very ill at the moment, but still trying to make endurance, still trying to keep it coming. Anyway, let's fast forward a little bit until we finish our survey. And there we go. The search is over. We get 40 science. And let's read the finale to the contract. Here we are. We found something in the sky that should be investigated further. Go to the observatory to find out more. And indeed I shall. And look at that. Demise. Orbiting the sun. Research state 0%. Is that all we discovered? We discovered Demise. I don't even know which one Demise is. I think that might be what Eve was. I was hoping we would discover the Wasteland, which is what Kerbin used to be. Apparently not. But I think this is a really inefficient way to research stuff, using the ground-based telescopes. So, you know what? Let's head over into R&D. Here we go. Let's open up this tech tree. High altitude flight. Hello. Space shuttle parts. Yeah. S2 reusable pod. Research. Oh god, that's a lot of money. We can also grab ourselves something else. I don't think we go for heavy aerodynamics, even though that does add us, the Mark III parts and all that. We're building a small space shuttle. Nuclear propulsion? No, we don't need that yet. Large volume containment? That could be useful. Advanced metalworks. Composites. Maybe heavy aerodynamics would be useful just for the wings. What does this add us the wings we need? Like large delta wings? Oh yeah, no, it adds all the parts we need, I think. We've got heavy landing. Oh yeah, I think we're probably going to need some bigger landing gear. That's for sure. Okay. We also got scanning tech, which gives us a bunch of new science equipment. But hey, if we're going to land this shuttle, we're going to need some bigger landing gear. At the moment we've only got the small landing gear, so... Oh no, we have some medium ones still. Unmanned tech. Electronics, I guess that's the seismic study. Get some bigger relay antennas. High-powered electrics. Oh, so many choices. Such a good tier. But all the techs are so expensive. Oh, we've got loads of inflatable modules, but we're not building any more space stations for a little while yet. You know, we're going to get a lot of science, hopefully, out of studying the stars. So let's go for heavy landing, just to be on the safe side with our space shuttle. Get ourselves some large landing gear. There we go. Do not want to smash this thing, but yeah. Let's get building a space shuttle. Let's launch a space telescope, and let's start finding some goddamn planets.